Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we recently highlighted the Soul Fragment Demon Hunter deck on a video pretty recently, and I asked, would you guys like a deck guide to go over how to play the deck, what the strategies are, and all of that, and it was overwhelmingly unanimous in the comments below that yes, we like a guide, so here it is. Here is my Soul Fragment Demon Hunter guide, and typically when I do a guide, I like to do the following. I go over the deck strategy, talk about what the deck wants to do, how it accomplishes its goals, and all of that. Then I go over the Mulligan strategy, what cards to keep in what matchups. And then I like to go over some like replacement options, whether you're missing some cards or there's certain techs you want to do for the meta. There's multiple options you can take, and we go over that. So let's get going with our Soul Fragment Demon Hunter guide. And if you like this type of content, let me know in the comments below if we should try and make more guides for more decks and things like that. Let me know in the comments. And anyways, let's get going with the deck strategies. So when this deck first originated, it was kind of incorrectly called a control deck. I think people saw like board clears and a bit of healing is like, oh, it's a control deck. But no, this is more of a burn deck. It stalls the early game with your early game clears, whether it be Blade Dance, whether it be Shard Shatter Mystic, or even Magtheridon. And you know, you have Eye-Beam, you have Soul Shear to clear early minions, and you have a little bit of early game with Spirit Jailer. Some people run Battle Fiends and all of that. So you have your early game, but basically where this game thrives is the damage output it can push. Once you start hitting turns 4 and 5, you have Marrow Slicer, you have Gladebound Adept, you have Soul Shard Lapidary, which all deal an insane amount of damage. You can cycle through your deck with Skull of Gul'dan, not only cycling, but discounting cards and allowing you to do some incredibly powerful damage turns. And you have Twin Slice, which again is just an incredible amount of damage. Just the 2 Twin Slices alone is 8 damage between the two, and that is pretty crazy. You also have a stat bomb in Sociologist Militia in the late game, where if you have a bunch of soul fragments in your deck, you get a bunch of 3/3s, and a lot of decks cannot handle that. Whether it's like an aggressive deck, something like that, they don't have AoE, well, you're going to win the game because you build a giant board, you remove their board, and it's kind of lights out from there. So yes, this deck thrives basically against the more aggressive archetypes. You have all these cheap board clears, you have all this healing and all of that, so it does very well against those strategies. Where it struggles is against the decks that either gain a bunch of life and armor, so like Warrior for instance, or sometimes Priest can be a struggle, or decks that just drop massive amounts of stats on board that you just can't deal with, say like a Druid or a Libram Paladin, that just play too many stats, yeah, you can't possibly handle, and those classes also do heal and create a problem. But overall, it's a very solid, consistent deck that thrives on basically clearing the board, pushing a ton of damage, and eventually burning your opponent down with just an unrelenting assault to the face, whether it be through weapons or minions. And it's quite the blast to play when there's absolutely no created by cards in my list. We'll talk about some substitute options that do bring in some created by, but overall, it's a very low RNG deck, very difficult to master, but a lot of fun to pick up and can be very good in the meta. So let's get going with the Mulligan strategy. What do you always keep? So one card that is an absolute safe keep in literally any matchup is Spirit Jailer. It's the 1 mana 1/3 minion that shuffles 2 soul fragments into your deck, and it just, you know, it's a 1-drop on 1. It gets your soul fragments going, which gets the synergy of the remainder of your deck going. And I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer. It's good against everything. The only situation where I don't love it is like against Druid, because they typically won't kill it. They'll play Guardian Animals and then they get to rush into it. But if that's the case, you're typically pushing 3 to 4 damage with it, and that's basically worth letting them possibly draw 2 cards. Next, I will quite often consider keeping Skull of Gul'dan if it's on the left side of my hand in pretty much any matchup, unless it's like hyper aggressive. And even then, I'll quite often consider it because you have a lot of good anti-aggro tools. You're going to be drawing 2 other cards and all that. It's just very solid to have on the left side so you can cycle and get to the remainder of your stuff, and hitting a lot of these cards for 0 mana is absolutely ridiculous. So Skull of Gul'dan, definitely consider, but only if it's literally on the left side of your hand, so it's always outcast. And then lastly is Soul Shear, 2 mana spell, deals 3 damage to a minion and shuffles into Soul Fragment. Just good early removal. Basically lines up against any single 1 or 2 drop in the game, and again, it gets your soul fragments going, which is very important. You don't want to be stuck with like Shard Shatter Mystic in your hand and not be able to use it, and etc. like that. Against aggressive decks, there's a couple of considerations you want to do in the mulligan. Blade Dance being one of them. Blade Dance is very good to keep in the opener. Basically, especially against like decks like Stealth Rogue or Face Hunter, it'll clear the board. Like they're gonna have 1, 2, or 3 minions, and with just a hero power, like often just hero powering with one attack will kill a wave of stealth minions, or you have a Chaos Strike in hand, and then you can clear a bunch. It's just very, very good early AOE, and you don't typically need a ton to make it work. Like even especially like Twin Slice can make it work very well. Next, you'll definitely want to keep Eldraki Warblades, the 3 mana 2/2 lifesteal weapon. It's just a great way of removing stuff and healing, and against the aggressive decks you need that healing. And again, with like Blade Dance, it's ridiculous because not only can you clear stuff, but you heal up. Twin Slice you heal up with Lapidary, you can get a bunch of healing. It's just super powerful to have early, and I highly recommend keeping against the aggro decks. And lastly, and probably most importantly, is Shard Shatter Mystic. It's a 3 mana 3/2 minion that destroys a soul fragment in your deck and does 3 damage to all minions. And it's basically a Dustbreaker 3, and it's just ridiculously powerful at clearing the early board, giving you that open board on turn 4 with your Marrow Slicer. So you clear the board, and then they play a minion, you kill it with the Marrow Slicer, and you just snowball from there. And very powerful card. It's one of the reasons why this deck is so good against the aggressive archetypes, is Shard Shatter just cleans up so well. Against the slower decks, you'll definitely want to keep Marrow Slicer. It's the 4 mana 4/2 weapon that shuffles 2 soul fragments into your deck. It kind of like gets your game plan going. Like I said in our deck strategy, that's when you really start going. You get the 4 mana, or you get your weapon equipped, you start pushing the damage. It lets you Gladebound Adept on turn 5 with the swing without having to hero power. It sets up your Lapidary. It's just very powerful, gets everything going, and also gets your soul fragment strategy going. It's very powerful to play on 4. Lorekeeper Polkit, if your list is running it, like you're facing a very slow deck, it can be worth keeping, or at least considering, so that when you play it on 4, you get a Lucia on 5, and then when you get to 6, you have Skull on 6, and you play it. I don't recommend keeping, I'll recommend playing this card in general right now, because the meta is very aggressive, and Lorekeeper can be very clunky in an aggressive meta. You just can't play it, because you bury all of your AoEs, you bury all of that stuff, and you need that, you need your healing. So that's why I don't have Lorekeeper in the list I'm showing, but in a slower meta, against slower decks, it's a very powerful card, because yeah, you curve into that skull, and it's just ridiculously powerful. But again, only in that instance. And lastly is Magtheridon. I like to keep against Druid in particular, because that matchup's brutal. But if you clear their board with Magtheridon, especially early, Druid does not have the tools to deal with the 12/12, and you kind of kill them with it. And that's kind of one of your ways of cheesing the Druid matchup. Or they play Guardian Animals, and you play Magtheridon and clear that. And again, they don't have a great way of dealing with it, and it can be one of your best win conditions against that deck. Also have kind of tried keeping its Paladin, because Paladins have been such a brutal matchup that I just hope they can't deal with it if I hit them with it. And it's worked out to an extent. So you can definitely consider keeping against the slower decks, or hell, even I've seen against Hate Warlock, like the Glare Warlock, Dark Glare Warlock. If you can stick it early and then you clear their board with it, they can't ever come back, because that deck has no recovery from that. But you might get smorked down by their early aggression, so it's something to consider. And lastly, I'll go over some replacement options, like budget options, all of that for the deck. I get asked a lot, like, what can I do if I don't have Magtheridon, I don't have Kane, I don't have Lorekeeper? I think all 3 of the cards I just mentioned are not 100% core, especially Magtheridon and Polkout. A lot of people don't even run them. People have cut Mag, people have cut Polkout, like I mentioned earlier. And Kane's kind of the one core card you don't really want to cut, but again, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to ruin the deck for you if you don't run it. So here are some options. Here are some cards you can throw in if you don't have them. There's Mana Feeder Panthera. It's a 2 mana 2/3 beast. Battlecry, if you use your hero power this turn, draw a card. It's just, a nice 3 mana play. Draw a card, you get a 2/3 on board. You don't really care too much about that, but it's decent. This deck wants to cycle. It puts some presence out there, and it's not too bad. You consider Vulpero's Scoundrel. It's a 3 mana 2/3 epic that lets you discover a spell, or, if you don't like the 3, you get a mystery choice. This card used to be a lot better in Demon Hunter before this expansion. There's a lot of really good spells, and there's a lot of bad spells added this last expansion, and I've tried out Vulpera, haven't loved it. It's not the best. I definitely wouldn't recommend it highly, but if it's something you want to consider as a replacement, you can definitely give it a go. Wand Maker is a 2-mana 2/2. It adds a random 1-cost spell to your hand. Also, the 1-mana spells in Demon Hunter have got worse this expansion, with like Jumpstart and Philosophy being added, but you hit Twin Slice, it can be really good. Mana Burn in the right spot can be quite nice, and I already run to Consume Magic, so that can be pretty clutch, but overall, I found that it can be kind of clunky. The values is not quite worth the spot, but again, you can consider it. Battle Fiends is another, or consider Battle Fiends in the deck as well. The 1-mana 1/2 demon that every time you attack, it's +1 attack. Just good early game. It's easy to dump, all of that. I think Vicious Syndicate has it in their list. I keep trying it. I keep not liking it. I like the other cards better, but you can certainly consider it. And lastly, I will suggest Immolation Aura. It's a 2-mana spell that deals 1 damage to all minions twice. If you're facing a lot of aggression, a lot of like stealth rogue, Immolation Aura can be pretty clutch. It clears the board pretty well and does a lot of good stuff, but only against those decks. And I feel like even then, it's not really worth the slot. I like the other cards more, but as a one-of, instead of one of the legendaries you might not have, it's certainly a valid option. So there you have it. That's kind of my general deck guide for Soul Fragment Demon Hunter. Hopefully you enjoyed the guide. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I've collected a few games from a recent stream to highlight some of these strategies, so check out the games if you're looking for some tips and tricks and a little bit of salt to go with it. Let me know in the comments below again if you like this type of content. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends. Or if they high roll you, but, you know, try and answer Guardian Animals. And this deck's not getting nerfed at all, so that's fucking scary. Gotta load the stream, of course. It's always natural. Does he have a dragon? No. Did he find a dragon this time? No. We're gonna coin weapon into weapon and try and just hit him in the face and kill him, I guess. Play the left one, because this is on the left. The overgrowth's here. Off the top. No. Okay. Thinking if I want to ditch the I-Beam, I can play both of these if I want. I-Beam's pretty useless in this matchup. This is taking, it's blocking the damage no matter what. I think I just get rid of the I-Beam. The only issue is if he has the, I can't clear now. If he has, brand new Innervate. Yeah, of course he does. Into random Guardian Animals I lose to Created By yet again. Oh, random card draw. Okay. I can live with that. That I can live with, kind of. Not really. I'm still triggered. We're gonna play the 5/5 and hope he doesn't have double Innervate Guardian Animals. Because we can go into Marrow Slicer, into Sociologist. Oh, he has double, triple 0 mana. Okay. Okay, then. So this summons 5 3/3 rushes if I don't top deck too many fragments. I can win this. It's Druid, so probably not. We're really unfavored, and he's drawn all the ramp, and he's already drawn 17 cards. But one can hope. I think we Blade Dance this. As painful as it is, I'd rather play this now, but I think it's wrong. Because, I mean, if he's playing that for tempo, maybe he doesn't have Guardian Animals in hand. Oh, never mind, I lost. Or not. Oh, okay, I lost. Of course. I mean, I'm not going to double trade, right? I can Skull next turn. Try and find something. Both Twilight Runners are gone. Omu's gone. Double Moonfire's gone. Swipe's gone. His main win con right now is Ysera. He's got probably 0 mana 3/5 taunts. He's drawn 26 cards. It's turn 8. So, you know, just normal Druid things. It's turn 8, by the way. And he's drawn his entire deck. 2 Shard Shatters. There's one of them. We'll Skull next turn. He's gonna play Ysera here, and I have to try and kill him. I probably won't be able to in time, though. But I have Kane. It's kind of my hope.
No more nicely.
I've been pushed to damage. Yep. Good enough for me. So is Alex. If I go face with the 4, does it help me at all? Probably. Just trying to kill him. He could put himself to 15 and heal to 20. I need to find Blade Dance. Mm-hmm. Ever lethal. 5, 7, 9. I think I'm 1 off. And I have Shard Shatter and Blade Dance, and I couldn't get either of them. Is it 1 off?
I know there's a way.
What's the healing? He still has overflow, and he has they can't play the overflow, but he has heal for 5.
Maybe.
He has no removal left.
Not enough time. Such a beautiful sheep. Pour out that. My cards are low.
Yeah, what else can I do? If he's running nature studies, I don't think he's running the 1-mana heal spell, but I could be wrong. But this, he has Iron Bark, or Germination, or whatever. But Kane doesn't care about that. So I don't think he's running the 1-mana heal 5. Don't think he can fit in this list, and this sets up Kane lethal. There we go. We beat a Druid. Feels good, man. Can't beat random, can't beat my good matchups, but I beat one of my bad ones. Yet another game that will be solely dictated by a random. You say I'm a bad player, but you're one of the best you've seen? Well, you need to watch other streamers then. I mean, I'm okay. I think I'm a decent player. But I make a lot of mistakes because I get really tilted all the time. Like, look at the comments I get on some of my YouTube videos. Like, look at this one. Zeddy lost to a meme turtle mage and wants it nerfed like a spoiled brat. I've actually yet to lose to turtle mage. That's kind of like, it's hilarious the comments I read. And it's the whole point is that deck, that interaction, there's no way that's intended. They've nerfed every deck that's ever been like that. Well, might be a turtle mage here. It's crazy the toxicity you read sometimes. It's not a meme deck. It's like tier 2, and it might go up to tier 1. And there's no way it was ever intended. Zero chance. Can I rate this deck, the one I'm playing? It's a solid tier 2, tier 3 deck. I just think Tolerant should consume the spell. That just fixes the problem. Blizz doesn't think it's an issue. Yeah, they're weird. Yeah, it's Turtle Mage and he top decks Ooze the second I play my weapon. Shocker. I mean, you have to top deck your perfect card the second I play mine, you know? That's the way Hearthstone works. If you queue into me, of course. And he kept one card, which is going to be Turtle. My board's going to be frozen infinitely, so we probably can't win it. Oh, random. Gotta get to lose to random. I wonder which one he'll pick. That's a tough one. How random is Turtle Mage? It's pretty random. It's Mage, after all. I'm aware I'm playing Turtle Mage. I'm very aware of it.
I cannot do that.
Also where I'm likely good to lose. Because he plays Turtle here, and then he goes infinite with it. Turtle Mate's one of the harder decks to pilot. Doesn't mean it should be in the game. Don't care. It doesn't mean it should be a fucking deck in the game. He runs Frost Elemental. Could play this right now, push a bunch of damage, keep the minion on the board, which he seems to have a problem with.
You're fast, faster.
I have Kane to try and find a way to get through the taunt. But, I mean, he runs Frost Elemental. And Shadow Weaver. Did I get Q-sniped? I feel like I got Q-sniped. Because how in the fuck are you running this card? This feels like a super Q-snipe to me. Nobody's running all these freezes. They run Frost Elemental? They're really running Frost Elemental. Like you're shitting me, right? Okay, well, he's got 3 cards. If he doesn't find a freeze, I win, but I guess he runs a third freeze card? I don't know. Does he run... I don't know. I mean, I have lethal, so we should be fine. There's no 1-mana freeze, right? Unless he runs Frostbolt and he coins it. We got him. I wanted to show him all the damage. Alright, we did it. We got Legend. Turtle Mage conquered. Triple... all the freeze mage. I should be like, probably 180. 130. There's not that many legends yet.